We say hello and goodbye every single day right now. But have you ever thought about just how powerful those little words really are?
I've never really thought about that.
Well, today on our deep dive, we're going to look at the world of English greetings.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
It is. There's a lot more to it than you might think.
I bet.
We're going to be looking at the rules and quirks and all those kind of interesting historical secrets behind how we say hi. It's going to be like your own personal cheat sheet.
Okay. So, where are we going to find all of this information?
Well, our source material today is a comprehensive guide to English greetings.
Oh, cool.
We're going to be looking at all the best parts and taking out all the good bits for you today. So to start with, let's just go over some basics,
Okay.
like formal versus informal.
Yeah.
Like on the one hand, we've got good morning, good evening. And then on the other hand, we have things like, hey there, what's up?
That's right. So, how do you know which one to use?
Well, it's all about reading the room, right? Formality shows respect. And that's especially important in professional settings
Right.
or when you're meeting someone for the first time.
Yeah, so you want to make a good first impression.
Exactly.
But I think even within formal and informal, there are some interesting nuances.
Like what?
Did you know that good morning is generally only used until noon?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that reminds me of this time I was in London. I was so jet lagged, and it must have been like 3 in the afternoon, and I said good morning to someone.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was so awkward.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I mean, these little details really do impact how you come across.
They do.
And then there's a whole world of nonverbal greetings,
Oh, that's true.
like handshakes.
Yeah.
You know, a firm handshake in one culture might be aggressive in another,
That's right. Yeah.
or a nod can convey so much, depending on, the situation you're in.
It really is like a whole secret language that we're all speaking without realizing.
Oh, you're right.
Okay, but here's where things get really interesting.
Ooh, okay, tell me.
We have some exceptions.
Okay.
The source material talks about how in the south of the U.S., they say howdy.
Oh, I love that one.
I find it so charming.
It is charming.
Like, it's not just a word. It tells you something about that whole area.
It does. It shows you all those different dialects we have
Yeah,
and how culture influences the language.
definitely.
It's like how in Britain they say cheers.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
Yeah, that can be confusing for people.
I was in London once, and I thought everyone was trying to start a party with me because they just kept saying cheers.
I can imagine. It just shows that even the simplest greetings can be misunderstood if you're not in the right cultural context.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the double greeting,
What do you mean by that?
like when someone says, "How are you?" but they don't want to hear about your day.
Oh, yeah.
It's so weird.
You just say, fine, thank you, and then you move on.
I always thought that was strange. What's the point of asking if you don't want to know the answer?
I guess it's what they call phatic communication.
So you're using language to establish a connection rather than to actually share information.
So how are you is less of a question and more of like a verbal handshake.
Yeah, I guess you could see it that way.
Interesting.
And then you also have situations where greetings are deliberately avoided
Oh, where?
in some professional emails.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like when you start an email with dear instead of hello, it just keeps it formal.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. But wouldn't it be so much easier if we could all just throw the rules out the window and say hello however we wanted?
Maybe, but these rules serve an important purpose.
Oh,
It helps us to show respect and avoid these awkward situations.
Yeah, okay, you've got a point.
Yeah.
So we've gone over the basics and some of those exceptions. How do we put all this knowledge into action?
Well, our source material has 10 questions about English greetings. I think that's a good place to start.
Ooh, I knew we'd get to the good stuff eventually. Let's hear it.
So these questions cover all sorts of things, like hugging as a greeting. And what about business emails? There are so many rules for those.
Okay, well, let's start with the hugging thing. I mean, I love a good hug,
Me too.
but they can be awkward sometimes
Yeah.
or even inappropriate.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How do you know when it's okay?
I guess it depends. Like with close friends and family in informal settings, hugs are usually fine.
Right.
But if it's a more formal setting or you don't know the person that well, it's better to stick to a handshake.
Yeah, probably. And I guess culture plays a big part too, right?
No, definitely. Something that's totally normal in one culture could be really offensive in another. You
Sure.
always have to be so careful, especially when you're traveling.
Yeah, you don't want to offend anyone.
No.
Yeah.
It just shows how important it is to be aware of personal boundaries.
It's crazy to think how much goes into something as simple as a hug.
I know, right?
But let's talk about email etiquette. That's something I struggle with.
Oh, me too.
Is it ever okay to start a business email with, hello. It always seems a bit too casual.
Well, dear has always been the standard,
Yeah.
but I have noticed that people are starting to use hello more,
Really?
especially if it's not super formal.
Okay, so maybe it's okay if you've been emailing back and forth a bit,
Yeah, you have more of a relationship.
and the company's not too stuffy.
Exactly. You have to use your judgment.
So the source material also talks about some interesting history stuff.
Oh, yeah, it does.
What's the most interesting fact you found?
Well, did you know that the word goodbye actually comes from the phrase, God be with you?
Whoa, no way. That's so cool. I never knew that.
It really makes you think about where these words come from.
It does.
And aloha means both hello and goodbye in Hawaiian.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. It's like it has the best of both worlds.
It does.
What other cool facts did you find?
So, how do you don't hear that phrase very much anymore.
No, it does sound a bit old-fashioned. Why do you think that is?
I think people like to get to the point more these days. You know?
Yeah, I guess so.
How do you do? It just takes so long to say.
And it's a bit formal.
Yeah. It's interesting how language changes over time. The source material also talked about how COVID changed greetings. Like all those elbow bumps.
and air high fives?
Mhm.
That was so strange.
It was. We had to find new ways to say hello almost overnight.
It's amazing how adaptable we are.
I know, it makes you wonder how greetings will change in the future.
I know, right? With all the new technologies and everything.
Will we be sending hologram greetings?
Or like telepathic messages or something.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But I do think that no matter what, we'll always need to connect with other people.
Yeah, that's true.
Greetings are all about acknowledging each other.
And making sure we're not totally isolated.
Exactly.
So now that we've reached the end of our deep dive into English greetings, what's the most important thing you want the listeners to remember?
Well, it's not just about memorizing all the rules.
Okay.
You have to understand how language works and be sensitive to other cultures.
Right.
Then you can use your own judgment to figure out what's appropriate for each situation.
So in the end, it's about using greetings to connect with other people.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing to think something so simple like a greeting can tell us so much about culture.
I know. It shows that language isn't just words. It says something about who we are, where we come from,
Yeah.
how we interact.
It does. It really does. So as we're going about our day and we hear all these different greetings, what's the one thing you want our listeners to keep in mind?
Pay attention to the little things.
Okay.
The tone of voice, body language, the context.
Mm.
Every greeting tells a story.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right.
You can learn something about the relationship between the people greeting each other.
Yeah.
And about the social rules.
So it's like a little social experiment you can do all day long.
Yeah, you could say that.
Just observe those greetings going on around you. What can you learn about the people around you?
Exactly. And the more you pay attention, the more you'll realize you're not just hearing words.
It's like a secret code.
Yeah.
You can unlock a deeper understanding of how we behave
Mm-hmm.
and how language and culture bring us all together.
Exactly.
Well, I think that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of English greetings.
I know.
We went from formal to informal, from the past to the present day.
We covered it all.
We look at all those strange rules and their hidden meanings.
We did.
And we hope you've come away with a new appreciation for something as simple as a greeting.
Me too.
And next time you say hello, goodbye, whatever it is, think about the history
The cultural impact.
and think about the connection you're making with another person.
Because greetings are more than just words.
They're part of what makes us human.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.